Welcome back. My name is Pamela, and today we are going to be talking about storytelling. What is storytelling? These days, a lot of businesses are going into the art of storytelling. They want to tell stories with their products, they want to tell stories with their brands. And you're like, so what is this storytelling? Well, storytelling is narrating an event, it's the narration of an event. That's what storytelling is. It's just narrating an event. It might be a fictional event, it might be a non-fiction event. That's what storytelling is. So why did we even start telling stories in the first place? Well, storytelling has been part of our history, part of humans for a very long time. It's the way we made connections, we made sense of the things that happened around us. By the time you see stories about mythologies, folk tales, they tell you a lot about the people who lived in those times when these stories might have been created, the people who lived in the time of the gods, how they came to understand the concept of things like lightning. In almost every religion, even in Africa, we have a Thor kind of god. That is the god of lightning and thunder. The Yorubas call him Shango, the Igbos call him Amadioha. It's not really, there's no central name for a god of lightning. You know, Igbos don't have a central name for a god of lightning like the Yorubas, but like you learn a lot about culture from these things, from the stories. Another reason why stories came about was because you want to educate people. People wanted to educate other people and found that it is easier to store knowledge in your head, in your brain, when the knowledge comes with a story. It is easier to store an information when the information is put in a story. You notice that you meet some people today and you just forget about them tomorrow because there's no story between both of you. There's nothing, they didn't say anything that can be intertwined into another scenario, which makes them easy to forget. But that's a different aspect of storytelling. Basically, storytelling is used to pass on information. Then you also use it to instill values, instill moral lessons, like most of our folk tales. They are used to instill moral values. Although sometimes I do question moral values when I read folk tales, when I hear folk tales. I remember growing up, my mom used to tell us a lot of folk tales then. I won't be writing about those folk tales, and maybe I'll make a video about some of them when I learn how to draw. But the point is that they used to instill values, okay, into the people then. Tell you don't be cunning, don't be lazy, obey your parents, and some were just some vague values like always be pretty, be cunning like the tortoise, because the tortoise always wins. Okay, not all the time. There are times when the tortoise actually doesn't win. But like, how important is this to have sense, you know? We have those kind of stories in our culture. It's used to pass those moral values. You can also use stories to understand history. For instance, from our folk tales, you can tell that Africans were not naked and sitting in the forest before colonization. You can learn a lot through stories. You learn about the Ibibio slave trade and things like that. You learn about our history. There's so much embedded into stories and history. Like, it's just connected, that makes us understand our culture, how our people were in those days. And then, of course, to educate. I've said that already. And most importantly, of all the things I've mentioned, the most important purpose for me of storytelling is entertainment. That's the only reason why I open a book. Okay, it's not the only reason. The other reason why I open a book is to learn, right? But like, to read a novel, my only reason for opening that novel is because I want to be entertained. I want to be lost in this narrative. I want to be lost in this place, you know? I want to forget about my reality. That's my reason for opening the book. And Sure, sometimes I read to learn, but like I won't read to learn. That's one of the reasons why I haven't opened any Chimamanda book. Okay, I opened Purple Hibiscus, but like the narratives was just too much. The descriptions were just too much, and I just couldn't read it. I want to be entertained from the first. I don't want to understand anything. I just like me understanding a situation should be an effect of me enjoying reading. Like I shouldn't even know that I'm learning. You know, pick up a novel. That's basically it for me. But I read Things Fall Apart. It took me 3 years to finally open that book. But I read it. I wasn't entertained, but I learned a lot about the Igbo culture, and I'm glad I did read the book. I was going to read Half of the Yellow Sun eventually, but then I watched the movie and I was like, who reads the book after watching the movie, right? A lot of people, a very lot of people to comment that don't. Yeah, that's me criticizing myself. Anyways, now that you've known what storytelling is and why it's important, why it's a part of human culture, why it's a part of us, let's see, how do you become good at storytelling? How? What magic do you need to learn to become good at storytelling, right? Now, storytelling, to become a genius at storytelling is not easy. You have to learn so much. Nobody just wakes up in the morning and becomes like the magician of storytelling. Now, this doesn't mean that people don't have talent in storytelling. I, for one, have a talent in storytelling. It's not something that I had to go to school to learn. It's something that I've been doing since I was little. The moment I got a pen and biro, I started writing stories. But I wasn't writing good stories. You can have a talent at doing something, but you become a god at it by the time you practice and improve yourself on those things. You don't just wake up in the morning and become a god at drawing things. You can draw already, but you improve by practicing it. And that's one of the ways to become good at storytelling. You practice. You tell people stories. Note the things that they liked about your story. See how you can embellish it and things like that. The second thing is purpose. Purpose. Know the purpose of telling this story, because by knowing the purpose of telling your story, you know what you want to achieve with the story. And your story is directed towards achieving it. The third is preaching. Don't preach, okay? Nobody likes being preached to. Like, if I want to be preached to, rather than watching that Nigerian movie telling me that prostitution is bad, Yahoo Yahoo is bad, I will go to church. I will just go to church and just be preached to. I know it's bad, but it's not your job to preach to me that it's bad. It's your job to unintentionally make me realize that it's bad. That's your job as a storyteller. So try to avoid preaching in your stories. The third thing is literary devices. You need to learn your literary devices. You need to learn how to use rhetorics, the way of convincing people in arguments. You need to learn how to use ad hominems. It's not, ad hominems are very annoying when other people use them. They're very annoying when you see them. To echo, and you too, you also do it. Who are you to tell me? You don't even have a degree. Or who are you? Ad hominems are very annoying. It's a way of us defending our, like, I have this theory that everybody lives on a form of bullshit mountain, right? Now, when people come up to you and try to destroy that mountain that you've built for yourself, you tend to go into this ad hominem phase of defending your territory, right? So, but you need to actually learn that as a storyteller, because you might want to use it in convincing people, which will be a terrible thing to do. Or you might want to have your character being good at using ad hominems. One way or the other, you need to learn what ad hominem is and what logical fallacies are. And then you need to learn your ironies, your sarcasm, your metaphors, your similes, oxymorons, if you're going into poetry and all that. You just need to learn your literary devices that helps convey your story better. And I've said it before, you need to practice. Then you need to hook your readers in conflict. Hook your readers with conflict. Hook your readers with action. You know, don't go on this boring long rounds of how somebody was walking on the road and things like that. You start off with action. End with, like, to get people from A to B, hold their hands, let them stay strong. You need to learn how to hook people in your story. And you can only get better at this by practicing, of course. And you need to learn how to use showing words and not telling words. Okay, when you're telling your stories, don't tell your stories, don't tell me your story, show me your story. Okay, don't tell me that she was feeling down, so she opened the fridge and she picked up a cup of ice cream, sat down and licked it, thinking about her life. Tell me about how she sighs, walks to the fridge, opens a glass, tears falling down and mixing into her ice cream. I can see her now and I can feel her pain. Rather than you telling me how she was feeling, you know, you need to show me these things and not tell me. And once you've mastered these skills and the elements of storytelling, of course, you will be able to tell a good story and become a very good storytelling god, because storytellers are basically gods. So you need to, and that's it for today. I hope I didn't exceed time. See you next time, maybe this Wednesday, when I'll be talking about plotting.